Purposely. Your life, God's purpose. Listen at purposely.com.
How do you find this superpower in your kid? And then how do you move aside your own special needs so you can bring it out? My guest today is Jessica Burtt, an award-winning teacher who not only teaches kids, but also teaches teachers on the college level. You taught our daughter for so many years, and you were the best person I know when it comes to helping families with special needs.
To be honest with you, I wasn't supposed to teach special education. I was a kindergarten teacher at the time and had really good classroom management. The behavior class next to my kindergarten class, I would take some of their kids in for part of the day because I love inclusion, and I think that all kids need to have access to everybody. During conferences, he came in and he said, after conferences, that sub will no longer be in there and we will not have a teacher. Will you teach it? And I said, okay. And during conferences, I flipped the classroom. We wrote a letter to all of my kindergarten parents who were distraught and devastated.
Yes.
I became a teacher in a high-intense behavior classroom and loved it.
Loved it.
I loved it. I loved it. The kids got access to music. They got access to library. They got access to PE, stuff that they'd never had before. They went to an assembly for the first time. They started to learn reading. They started to learn math. The superintendent came in. The principals, the special education directors came in. And I'm saying this not to toot my own horn, but to just tell you, by allowing children to be authentically who they are, but giving them this beautiful roadmap that's specific for them to allow them to access different things and show them how to do it in their very own way, was something that was so beautiful.
How would I do that? Like just the phrase that you said, show them how to do it in their very own way. What does that mean? Every
kid has their own beauty and own shine, and they process things in their very own way. And adults, we have this pre-built-in schema of how we do things, and we forget that we either figured it out on our own or somebody taught us because it was so long ago. Even down to tying your shoes. Do you do bunny ears or do you loop?
Right.
Right. But you have to be able to understand and listen and understand where that child is coming from. Behavior and communication, especially with kids that are verbal or nonverbal or speak in fragmented sentences, they're still communicating. You have to turn your adult brain off and truly listen to them. And they'll show you. Can I use my friend, my BFF?
Yes.
Thank you.
BFF.
And I'm sorry, I didn't.
Zoe.
My BFF. Yes, my BFF, Zoe.
No, you taught Zoe for so many years. And, you know, we actually, the minute I met you and I talked with you for 10 minutes is when we took our house off the market. We were going to move. And I went, oh, no, this is Zoe's teacher. This is it. We are not moving. We will come up with the money to keep this house because this teacher is worth it. And so you were. So our daughter still calls you her BFF. I think she adds more F's in it. It's like BFFFFFF. So it's a lot of forevers.
It is my current job as a PE teacher. I use my whistle that she got me every single day that on the top says kiss your brain and on the side it says BFFFFF.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, Sam? I know you asked me and I apologize for kind of hijacking this.
Yeah.
What was it about that meeting and that conversation? Because it was a short meeting. We only met for about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
What was it about that interaction?
You said one thing that I will never forget. You said that when a child doesn't understand something, that isn't the child's fault. It's that the person who's trying to communicate with them needs to learn how to unlock it. And I went, that's the teacher for us.
It's that listening piece.
Yeah.
And it's taking your own pride and self out of what you think you know is best for that child.
Yeah.
And collaborating with them. And that's what special education is. You collaborate.
If you were going to sum up what stops people from entering in or what keeps them away from that, what do you think it would be?
It's fear. It's fear of the unknown, or fear that a person will not be able to, I don't even want to say handle because I don't like that phrase, but that's what's been said to me in professional settings because I've asked this question as well. It's fear. It's fear that they don't know what to do with them.
We never were exposed to anyone with special needs until we had Zoe, and then we just unlocked and opened up this whole community of people. And the previous me, who knew nothing about it, would have been terrified. And there are times where I'm still just wondering, what am I doing? How do I do this? I don't know what I'm doing. But it's the joy of it, I think, that holds me in. And I think that if people knew the joy of it, that they would be willing to kind of broach the fear and overcome it.
They have to stop looking at what the deficit is and look at their joy and their strengths and what they can bring. My BFF Zoe, she has so many strong leadership skills. That little girl has got some leadership skills. So honing her communication, honing when to be a leader, how to be a leader versus being bossy, and how to kind of navigate that and be outward and be proud of who you are. She'd tell me all the time, I can't do this. And I'd say, no, yes, you can. Say, I can do it. I'm so smart. And as soon as she said those words, I can do it. I'm so smart. That girl was off. She was ready to go.
For parents who have kids with special needs, or for educators, it sounds like almost what you're looking for is, what is this child's special gift and how do I help them build it, develop it? And even saying stuff out loud. It sounds like that's part of the process. It
is. I call it their superpower. What is their superpower? Is it Zoe and her leadership skills? Is it a friend of hers that is brilliant about airplanes and is going to be a pilot when he grows up? So we honed in on his skills about and made school about things that he liked and he was interested in. And as far as parents go, the one thing that I really tried to do when I was teaching special education was to let them know that there is a community out there. And there's a community of people and parents that are in the same boat as them, that are fearful and worried about their kid and how they're going to be with other kids and how do play dates look like. By putting families together and allowing them to authentically be in spaces together, they started to build communities. All I did was set up a drive-through birthday party during COVID where we opened up our trunks and the kids sat in there and we had, and it was like a tailgate and the families got to see each other. Do you know how important that was?
Yeah.
To have those families in that space. They're learning at home. They're teaching their kids at home. They're overstimulated because their kids are there all day. They're playing parent and teacher. But to come together and just be in a space where everybody is happy and they see people that are experiencing the same thing that they are, it's really important.
That is one of the things that I think that we feel, my friends and I who are special needs parents, is we feel like we're alone and sometimes we're isolated and we're used to just trying to accommodate everything and stay out of the way and not cause any trouble, and to feel accepted and to feel seen and known and to get a chance to love other people's kids for what they are and have them love your child for who she is. It's a beautiful thing. I love the community part of it. What would you say to a family who goes, wow, I love the hearing of all of this. I don't have access to this right now. How do I get it?
I hate to say this because it's adding more to their already full plate. The parents with kids with special needs sometimes have a little bit of an extra load.
Yeah.
But honestly, there are great resources out there. Dance, getting kids involved in activities and any type of activities and to build that community is great. There's already places that have like the autism awareness, or there are places that have dance classes for anybody that wants to be involved, typically developing or non-typically developing. And some dance classes are specifically for special needs kids, for boys and girls, and they go through hip hop and jazz, or tumbling and gymnastics, baseball, soccer. Or if your kid's not interested in that, there's Lego clubs, there's puzzle clubs, there's reading clubs. A lot of it is being vulnerable and putting yourself out there. But there was something that you said, Sam, that you try to minimize things. You try to minimize, and that's kind of where I feel like parents start to get overstressed and their kids get a little stressed, is when they try to minimize their child's personality.
Yeah.
You have to let that shine. Even if it impacts somebody else, It's a learning moment for the family. It's a learning moment for the kid, or it's exposure to this is what the world is. This is how people are.
That almost makes me want to cry when you say that, just because that's such a tender spot, to the heart. As you were talking, and I was remembering, because you had said, well, try Zoe in soccer. And I thought, yes, I'm going to try her in soccer. And so I got her involved in soccer, and she was just a little tiny thing. She got there in the first minute. She loved the coach, and she kicked the ball and it went into the goal. And I sat on the bleacher, and for a moment, I felt like a regular parent, like a soccer mom sitting there watching my daughter play. And I was so happy. And then within a half an hour, she was laid out flat on the green and refusing to do anything. And I was the mom. All the parents are kind of crabby because I'm interrupting their child's lesson, and I'm marching out on the field, and she physically won't get up. And so I'm picking her up and hauling her over my shoulder like a sack of potatoes. And I'm going, oh, this is the thing again that I don't like. This is, are we ever going to find anything? And here's the thing is that I think persistence is so important, because we kept trying soccer and it wasn't a thing, but we also tried gymnastics, and for a while that was tricky. She would go disappear and hide in the corner or hide under a gymnastics mat, but we kept going back, and now 13 years old, she's an ace gymnast. She has typical friends in her gymnastics class that she sees at school. She can rock a one-armed cartwheel and is great on the balance beam. She did that. She was continuing to go, but it had to have me just sit there and go, I'm willing to sit here and just not be like the other families. I'm going to keep trying. And I think that for parents, that takes a lot of endurance too, and persistence.
It also takes a lot of vulnerability.
Yeah.
You're putting your most precious thing out there in the world. And like you said, those parents on the sidelines that were sitting there and they were bothered because you had to go get your little toots off the field. Do you know what? There have been times in my life where I thought, I am done with this activity and I'm just going to sit down. I'm done. They are so authentically themselves, right. And I love that with all of my heart.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
And to those parents that are sitting on the sidelines that have something to say or are judging, Sam, in their parenting experience, they're going to have that moment. And I hope that whoever they're surrounded by, when their child is having somewhat of a hard time, there's compassion in the other parents' hearts. Because this judgmental piece where parents go, I'm going to judge you based upon your parenting or how your child is acting, that's got to go.
I mean, I feel like I used to judge people for their kids. And I am so grateful for Zoe because I've learned I just love kids now, and I love kids of all abilities, and it's fun. But it's different because judgy Sam from long ago would have missed the chance, and I'm so glad I get to do it. What do you wish that more people knew about our friends with special needs?
I don't want them to know anything. I would like them to be more curious and know that all kids, to the core of who they are still little people wandering around this world trying to figure it out. This ever-changing, very difficult, very structured at school environment. You are the person, especially with Zoe, because you guys live so out loud and you're so authentically who you are, both of you, which I love, that your openness about stuff, you allow this space for people to ask you questions. I've seen parents come talk to you on the playground or after school about something that you or Zoe are doing, and you encourage them to try it out themselves. And even with an authentic way, you let them know that it was successful or it was a little bit of a struggle, but just keep doing it.
Thanks. I think the biggest thing that I've found is letting go of perfection, because I think I thought somehow I have to be the perfect mom. I have to perfectly know how to do this, and our house has to look a certain way, and she has to look a certain way, and she has to do this, and if she doesn't do this, we're not successful. And I was exhausted. And I think that the thing that I learned, because you weren't only her teacher, but you were my teacher, the thing that I learned is let it go. And agree that doing it messy is doing it the right way.
Always have high expectations for your kids, but don't hold them to like the traditional way that it was done.
Right.
Let it be a little messy. That's okay. It's authentic. It's authentic to who they are. And you can always teach them to clean it up. Oh, we made a mess. Let's clean it up. All right, everybody, let's go. Oh, that didn't work. Mistakes were made. Kids are watching. They're learning. They're listening, whether you think that they are or not. They are always watching and learning, and being a model and holding them those high expectations, but knowing that roadmap is going to look a little different and being okay with it.
I woke up one day and I went, oh, I thought she was supposed to check all the boxes for the school, but it's not that. School is for her. School serves her. Mm-hmm. And so
yes,
whatever it is that she needs, she gets to take that experience from the school. It's not that she has to comply and fit into all the exact things. And I respect teachers and love teachers. And I agree, we want to be a helpful and useful part of the community. But just changing that in my brain, it helped set me free. I was like, oh, it's there for her. She's not there for it.
And I believe that. And teachers really, truly go into teaching wanting to do that type of work. I want to shine a little bit of light on the fact that teaching right now is very difficult. There are very, very high demands and a little less of that teacher authenticity that can be included in, because you need to get so much done within the day.
Right.
And you need to get through the curriculum as well as you can. And sometimes there's not as much of that space for individuality within children, and teachers being able to meet that individuality because they're trying to meet all these high demands over here. I got the greatest privilege of my life of being able to teach that self-contained multi-grade class where I could incorporate art and science and math in different ways and build it so it was authentic to the children that I taught. And that I genuinely think that was part of their key to that success, because I looked at what that child needed, the whole child, and then started to take pieces of the curriculum to fit it in where it needed to be.
Yeah.
Instead of looking at the curriculum and trying to fit the child into that.
Yeah, but I hear what you're saying is that it's really difficult for teachers, and especially now. At home, we can do some of the things that we wish were happening at school, and that our kids are learning all the time, and there are some things we can do at home that really help the development of our children. Your
structure and your strategy and what you did with Zoe, it complemented what we were doing in school, but not in a way that was a high-pressure situation where it was like, sit down for 30 minutes to do your homework and sit down for 20 minutes to do reading. I got these beautiful videos of Zoe writing journals in her bedroom, and because we were writing journals at school and she wanted to do it at home. And you just allowed for the space for her to be able to complement what we were doing in school by helping her with like her sight words and counting and numbers. And you made it such a fun experience. You added cooking in when we got math in there. It was a complete collaboration between both of us. You helped just as much as I taught at school.
Thank you. The thing that I learned from how you taught and the structure that you did was I noticed you used high intensity. You have very high energy, and that has always worked with Zoe. You also did really short duration, that you taught in small little tiny chunks for each subject. And then also high passion of finding like, wow, if they love cooking, wow, if they love penguins, wow, if they love this, let's go after it. And that was a delight to watch. And I learned that. And I thought, okay, so you just read the room. You see, how passionate are they? How long can we ride this wave before we shift it up? And I think that was really helpful. So thank you. Thank you for teaching that.
Absolutely. I do want to address one small thing. I was high energy for Zoe because that's how I engaged her. For kids that are quieter, I literally will be quiet with them. So there's another little friend who is very quiet, and he didn't talk at all. And I just started by having lunch with him. And we didn't talk. I showed him my lunch and he showed me his lunch. And then he kind of started talking more. And when he talked, I talked. And by meeting him where he was and just creating a space where he felt comfortable and safe and happy, that kind of opened up his door. I do have high intensity for some kids, but for other kids, you kind of have to meet them where they are.
You have changed so many lives, and I love that you're teaching teachers now at the college level so that they can learn some of the things that worked in the classroom for you. Thank you that you would share this for parents as well. But what are some of the things that teachers and parents as teachers need to know? I mean, you're talking about kind of reading the room and reading your child. What else?
I wish I had great advice for teachers, but the way I teach teachers is the way I teach children. Teachers from all over Washington State, because it was an online course, and I had students that had IEPs themselves.
Really?
Or adult boys with these beautiful brains. They're like, I have ADHD. I really want to try teaching because I have a passion for this, but I'm not sure if my brain fits within this, the way that this navigates. And they were my top presenting students in that class because of the uniqueness of the way that their brain took the information that I was funneling in, and they made it so beautiful and unique to them.
Wow.
That I can see them in the classroom teaching other little kids that need to be inspired and see that they themselves are represented within the school setting.
Wow.
It allows them to think that they can move beyond and do greater things.
Our children, each child has a superpower or a number of superpowers. And then when you harness those, great things happen. And it's just a matter of finding, where will my child fit? And then how do I help them be them so they can get there? Just
know that it might not present itself in kindergarten or first grade or second grade. I had a little boy many years ago when I first started teaching kindergarten, full day kindergarten, and his mom was so worried about him because she wanted him to make friends, and he was just a little quieter, shyer kind of guy. And I'm still in touch with her now. He's in 8th grade, and he now has 2 very good friends that he didn't find until he was in 4th grade, and he kind of didn't find his true authentic voice until he was in 3rd grade, because it takes kids time to develop, and some kids develop in different ways, and the parents need to stop, be a little patient with them, be exposed to things, but maybe not push their own agenda of what they think that kid should be or be doing or how they should be doing it, and maybe find out a little authentically who they are and how they might want to do it, especially when it comes to children with special needs. If you fail, it's okay. I have to tell you, as an educator and as a person, I have failed. But I've looked at it and listened, and I've collaborated with parents or other people, and I've gone back and tried again. If you fail once or twice or 3 times, it's okay. Please try again. And it might not be this one year. Try it again next year. Give it a break. Kids are capable. All kids are very capable. And please find a support system, whether it's within your families or a community base. If you do this work in isolation, it feels very heavy. And laugh about it. Laugh. Oh my gosh, laugh. Tell me the stories that you and I have traded back and forth have been hard conversations, but there's a little humor in it.
I still remember you face down on the bathroom floor in the upstairs girls' bathroom, crawling under the stall because my daughter refused to come out.
I had a full conversation with her under there, and I had to go save the day. And so unique to Zoe. She's like, "Hey, girl, what's going on?" And I'm like, "Ma'am, what's going on with you?" And truthfully, Sam, the problem is that she was upstairs, and she was so little, she couldn't get on and off how tall that
the toilet was. You saved her.
And she was like, "Hey, can you help me out?" And I had taught her to just ask for help. I just didn't say to get help from other people too. But we laugh about it now. Oh my gosh, if I tell a random stranger I had to crawl under the stall to help a kid out of the bathroom, they'd go, "Oh my gosh, that sounds terrible." And I'm like,
funny.
No?
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Well, we said this was going to be hope, help, and humor for families with special needs. So there's the humor part. I'm sorry
Oh my gosh.
It's at your expense. There's not enough hand sanitizer in the world.
I was potty training a little girl one time, and she flushed my work keys down the bathroom toilet. Like, she was so mad, she slammed her hands up, and my keys popped up. She snatched them out of there, shut the door before I even got out of the chair, and I heard, whoosh.
Oh.
You know how hard it was to call utilities and be like, I need a new badge and keys, because they were flushed down the toilet.
That's awesome. Thank you for being you. Thank you for sharing all of this wisdom. And wow, you're amazing. What I'm hoping is, okay, so if you're listening to this and you go, I have questions, or there's something that you go, wow, I wish teachers knew this about what it is like to be a parent or a family with special needs. Will you, in the comments, share your questions, and then also share, just observations or things that you want to add to this conversation. Jessica Burtt, how I love you.
Oh, Sam, how I love you and your heart. How strong and beautiful and fierce your daughter is. What a shining example of what high expectations and a good structure can provide for a student and how she can succeed. My biggest and most proud moment with Zoe was when she got up in front of that 5th grade graduation. All of those parents, how many people were in that room? And she was the star of the show, reading her acceptance award for my class. And wow. She made all of those parents laugh, and the kids behind the scenes were laughing too. She eased the room, high intense room, just brought her darling little charm right up to that microphone and was her perfect self.
I hope that you continue on your journey of teaching teachers and teaching kids. I guess we never stop learning, huh?
No, we don't. Curiosity is something that is in every single person, whether you feed that curiosity within yourself. It also helps keep you young. That's how I help out with kids. That young brain, curiosity. I think shedding a light on something that people typically kind of push to the back or keep in the dark because it is something that might be a little different is going to be a very powerful and beautiful something that everybody should experience.
Thank you so much for being here for the Unexpected Adventure. Hope, help, and healing for families with special needs. If you like this, pass it on to a friend or leave a review. And check out other cool content on purposely.com. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next time for the Unexpected Adventure.
Thanks for listening. We just wanted to take a minute to let you know that just like you and your family, Purposely is also part of a family, the Krista Family of Ministries. Krista helps kids and teens learn and grow in their faith at King Schools and Miracle Ranch Camp. And Krista shares Jesus with people in the poorest, most remote places through World Concern. Krista Senior Living is a community of love and care, and Krista Media is a place of hope on the radio. God is changing lives through these 5 ministries, and Krista is on mission to share the good news of Jesus. To learn more, visit Krista.org.